In the latest episode of Moonshiners, Season 14, Episode 7, Respect Your Elderberries, viewers witnessed Mark and Huck take on unique challenges in their clandestine craft. Also, Stephen Ray Tickle found himself in a domestic predicament after inadvertently over-ordering blueberries for his wife's culinary endeavors. To make amends and prevent waste, Tickle collaborated with his friend Henry to construct a dead man's still. This wooden apparatus resembles pre-prohibition distillation methods. This innovative solution aims to convert the surplus of blueberries into a profitable batch of moonshine and smooth things over. Tickle hopes to get back in his wife's good grace as he races against the clock to turn his error into cash for their restaurant. The process begins with preparing the blueberry mash, which is then introduced into the dead man's still. During distillation, they encounter significant leaks but manage to address these issues promptly, ensuring the operation proceeds smoothly. Henry leverages his connections to introduce the blueberry brandy to a wealthy client. Initially, the buyer shows interest in purchasing a limited quantity and negotiates for a lower price. However, Tickle's persuasive emphasis on the brandy's uniqueness convinces the client to acquire the entire batch at $150 per gallon. This transaction recoups Tickle's expenses and yields a modest profit, restoring harmony on the home front. Concurrently, Mark and Huck embark on a daring bootlegging expedition, transporting 100 gallons of moonshine via a handcrafted raft. In the previous episode, they meticulously designed the vessel to accommodate their substantial cargo, incorporating an additional floor for stability. As they navigate the river, the raft's considerable weight presents steering challenges, exacerbated by the absence of a functional rudder. Relying solely on paddles, they adeptly maneuver through potential hazards, ultimately reaching their destination without incident. The buyer is seemingly impressed with the liquor. Mark collects the payment, and they return home with a pocket full of money. Mark Ramsey and Huck face escalating tensions with fellow distillers Mike Cockrell and Jerry Benson. The rivalry intensifies after Mark and Huck sabotaged Mike and Jerry's equipment, prompting the latter duo to seek retribution. In next week's episode, Mike plants a tracker on Mark's car to find his distillery. Moonshiners Season 14, Episode 7. Tickle crafts a dead man's still while Mark and Huck brave a risky river run. The night is heavy with humidity as the Appalachian mountain air wraps itself around the small stills hidden deep within the forest. In the distance, the faint rustle of leaves and the hoot of an owl punctuate the silence. Season 14, Episode 7 of Moonshiners begins with an intensity that's only familiar to those who have lived this life. A life marked by secrets, risks, and the pursuit of liquid gold. This episode sees Tickle taking a risky but personal leap into uncharted waters while Mark and Huck brace themselves for a treacherous run down the river that could make or break their operation. Tickle's tribute to a lost friend. The episode opens with Tickle standing alone in front of a dilapidated cabin. The camera zooms in on his weathered face, the lines deepened by years of moonshine and mischief, as he reminisces. "You know," he says softly, "sometimes the past has a way of catching up to you. This one's gonna hit a little different." Tickle is about to begin crafting a still that holds a great deal of sentimental value. It's a project he's been thinking about for years, a still based on the design of his late friend Billy. Billy was a moonshiner from the old days, a man known for his craft and ingenuity. But he met a tragic end while experimenting with a new method of distilling. The design Tickle is attempting to replicate is said to be Billy's final creation, an old style still made from handmade copper and rugged iron. Tickle's respect for the craftsmanship runs deep, and he believes that resurrecting Billy's still would be a fitting tribute. "If there's anything Billy taught me," Tickle reflects. It's that the old ways are the best ways, and you don't need fancy gadgets to make good liquor. It's all about the heart. The process begins, and Tickle works tirelessly through the night, expertly shaping the copper, carefully adjusting the coils and pipes. The sound of metal clanging echoes through the trees, but it's nothing compared to the intense focus on Tickle's face. This is more than just moonshine. It's about honoring the past, and for Tickle, it's a way to keep Billy's spirit alive. As he works, he speaks to Billy as if he was still there, the bond between the two evident in every word. Here's to you, buddy. We're doing this the right way. However, the path isn't easy. Tickle faces several setbacks along the way. Broken tools, stubborn metal, and moments of frustration. But it's clear that he's not willing. Right, Billy's memory won't rest easy. It's gotta be perfect, he insists. The dedication to his craft, and to his lost friend, is palpable, and viewers are drawn into the emotional weight of the task at hand. Mark and Huck. The risky river run meanwhile, Mark and Huck are preparing for one of the most dangerous parts of moonshining, the river run. The duo has been making a name for themselves by creating top-shelf moonshine, but transporting the goods is a whole different ballgame. The river is a notoriously unpredictable force, and it's essential that they navigate it with precision if they want to make it back in one piece, and with the shine intact. As the camera follows them to the riverbank, Huck explains the risks. This isn't like just cruising down the road in a pickup. The river's got a mind of its own, and if we're not careful, we could lose everything. And I mean everything. Mark, ever the steady hand, remains calm. We've done this before. It's all about knowing the river and respecting it. Just gotta take it slow and steady. The river, however, has no intention of making things easy. The current is strong, and the water level is higher than usual due to a recent storm. As the two push their boat into the water, the tension is immediate. Huck is clearly uneasy. This ain't gonna be smooth sailing, I can tell you that. As the boat cuts through the water, the river seems to grow more treacherous by the minute. Logs and debris float downstream, obstacles that would be impossible to avoid at high speed. We can't risk taking a hard turn here, Mark warns as he carefully steers the boat around a large fallen tree. The trip becomes a game of survival as they fight against the current. The boat is weighed down with barrels of freshly distilled moonshine, and the risk of losing their cargo is ever present. Huck and Mark exchange tense glances as the boat crests a particularly rough section of the river, the water lapping dangerously close to the sides. I'm not sure we can keep it afloat much longer, Huck mutters. If this boat flips, we're in trouble. Big trouble. Despite the risk, Mark remains resolute. Keep calm. Just focus on getting through this stretch, then we can breathe again. But the river seems to have other plans. A large wave crashes against the boat, and for a moment, it seems like the journey might end in disaster. Huck's hands grip the sides of the boat, his knuckles white with tension. I told you this wasn't gonna be easy. Mark's skill and experience as a river navigator are put to the ultimate test. With precise movements, he maneuvers the boat through the most dangerous part of the river. The tension is unbearable as they push forward, but after what feels like an eternity, they finally emerge from the worst of it. Mark exhales deeply, relief flooding his face. We made it, he says quietly, but Huck isn't so sure. That's too close, man. Next time, we're taking the back route. Mark chuckles. Next time, we'll make sure the river's on our side. Tickle's distilling breakthrough back in the woods. Tickle's work on Billy's still continues. After several long days, the still is finally complete, but Tickle faces his next challenge. Testing it. This is it, he says, standing before the freshly assembled still. It's time to see if Billy's design still holds up. He lights the fire underneath the still and watches as the copper heats up. The familiar scent of fermenting mash fills the air, and Tickle's face softens as he inhales. "That's the smell, right there," he mutters. "Billy would be proud." The first batch trickles out slowly, and Tickle inspects it carefully. It's coming out nice and clean. This is gonna be good. But even after all the work and emotional energy he's put into it, there's still the lingering question: does it truly capture the essence of Billy's craft? As the final drops fall, Tickle smiles. "That's it. We did it, Billy. You were right. Old school is still the best school." The end of the run back at the river, Mark and Huck make it to their destination, safely unloading the moonshine. Their sense of accomplishment is evident, but the day's dangerous run has left them both exhausted. Huck wipes his brow, then looks at Mark. "We made it, but we don't need to be doing that again anytime soon." Mark nods. "Agreed. Let's just stick to the roads next time." As the episode nears its end, the camera cuts back to Tickle, who, after several days of work, has finally completed Billy's still. With a deep breath, he holds up a jar of his first batch, the liquid inside shimmering in the low light. "Here's to the old ways," Tickle says with a grin. "And here's to Billy. You may be gone, but your shine will live on." As the camera fades to black, viewers are left with a sense of closure. Tickle has honored his friend, and Mark and Huck have survived another wild ride. But one thing is clear: the world of moonshine never rests, and there are always new risks and rewards around every corner.